Hey guys, what's up? Andrew here, obviously, and I'm back with my first collection update video. Obviously, since I'm done doing all my records, going through all the records that I previously owned before starting the channel, I'm going to keep getting records, keep updating the collection, so that's what these videos are for. Anyways, 3 albums here. We have a non-metal album from one of my favorite bands of all time, an extreme metal classic, and then a non-metal album from a band that a lot of people attribute to being metal because of their peak or their first couple albums are metal, but this is not a metal album. But anyways, let's just get started. Oh, and I forgot to say this. I got all these records for my birthday. I turned 21 over the summer, so I've had these since June. Now, let's get to the records. All right, first record. One of my favorite bands of all time, according to my last FM account. These guys are my most listened to band of all time. And in my opinion, one of the best bands of the 80s. The Smiths, Louder Than Bombs. This is a compilation from, I believe, 1987. And it's a compilation of a lot of B-sides, some singles. The Smiths are they were an English jangle pop band, and jangle pop is this style of pop music that's really guitar oriented with these bright, shimmery, treble high guitars, tambourines, acoustic guitars. Think of like the Byrds. They were like one of the earliest and one of the most seminal jangle pop bands. So the Smiths came around in the 80s, and in the eyes of many, including mine, they were the best jangle pop band ever by far. This is a gatefold. Lyrics. Man, I haven't re-sleeved these yet, but I haven't even cleaned them yet, actually. I don't know why. Showing off the record. Double album, so I won't show both records, but man, I listen to this band a lot. I really, really love them. And I know a few of my followers on Instagram really, really love them too. And they're just brilliant, absolutely brilliant band, and I recommend them to almost anyone. I see them more as a singles band, a songs band, more so than a album band. If you want to get into this band, I definitely recommend the way I went through and got into this band. I went through the This Is the Smiths Spotify playlist and just listened to that, and that's what got me into them. And I'd honestly say, like, even if you don't have Spotify, like, you just go on YouTube and look up songs by them. I would recommend that before you get an album. Not that their albums are bad. I love them all, but they're not. You could tell that they're more of a singles band than an album band. In terms of this compilation, I really, really love it. It's not my favorite comp from the band. That would be Hatful Hollow. There are a few songs that I'm not like huge on. Shoplifters of the World Unite. I've never clicked with that song. And Golden Lights that's like the Smiths song that most Smiths fans say is the worst of their entire catalog. I don't hate it, but I don't care for it much. Everything else is just amazing. Is it really so strange? Sheila, Take a Bow, which has honestly recently become one of my favorite Smith songs ever. Half a Person, London, Panic, Girl Afraid, William, It Was Really Nothing, You Just Haven't Earned It Yet, Baby, Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now, Ask, These Things Take Time, Hand in Glove, Stretch Out and Wait, Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want, This Night Has Opened My Eyes, Unlovable, and then Asleep. There's a few other songs that I skipped, but they're not bad by any means. there's a lot of songs. I didn't want to have to read them all. I love this band. I love everything about them. I love Morrissey's really unique vocal style, Johnny Marr's brilliant guitar playing, the amazing rhythm section. I highly recommend, if you don't know anything about the Smiths and you don't care for, or you think you won't care for their sound, I would still just absolutely recommend the hell out of them, because they're one of my favorite bands of all time. Some days they probably are my favorite band of all time. So yeah, the Smiths, Louder Than Bombs. Check it out if you haven't already, because it's absolutely incredible. Okay, next up is a band that I didn't really care for at first, from a particular style of metal that I didn't care for at first. And if you've been a long-time follower of mine, you should know my history with this band. Blasphemy, Blood Upon the Altar. This is a recent reissue from Nuclear War. When I first heard Blasphemy, I didn't hate it. I was just kind of impartial to it. And then I remember, giving Fallen Angel of Doom another listen. I really didn't like it. And then I heard it maybe sometime last year, and I liked it even less. And it just seemed like this whole war metal thing was just not my thing. Show off the center label. Love how the red looks. Hopefully the phone glare doesn't, you can just kind of see it. I was really, really afraid that I would never be able to get into war metal, because I always wanted to. This off the side. Show off the album cover. Also a gatefold. Amazing picture of the band there. And then it comes with 2 posters. There they are. Which I'm really glad they came with 2 posters, because the posters are reversible. They have 2 sides, and they're both the same poster. So you can pretty much hang up both of them and not have to worry about not being able to hang up the one design. So this one is just the album artwork, and then on the other side, you got this really cool picture of the band. It says at the bottom, Black Metal Skinheads. I believe it does. Yes, it does. And like I said, they give you 2 versions, so you can hang up both of them, which I do intend on doing. Anyways, I didn't care for war metal at all in this band. And then sometime last year, around, I want to say October. It was October last year. I checked out Bastille Warlust, their first album. Loved it. And then I checked out Old Beharit, stuff like Over the Black Blood. Loved it. Still couldn't get into this until this summer. Heard this, clicked. Re-listened to Fallen Angel of Doom, clicked. I love this band now. I get it. So I am completely aware that this is very entry-level war metal. I get that. But this is completely reignited. We'll just say that word since I can't pronounce the other one. Reignited my love for extreme metal. Honestly, now I feel like a kid again, getting into all these new war metal bands and exploring all this stuff that I previously couldn't get into. Awesome. Super awesome. I love this demo to the point where I would probably say it's my favorite war metal release. And I think that's a big reason for that is because of how short it is. I believe it's only like 20 minutes long. And I really like that about this, because with a style like war metal, I would rather have the albums, or demos in this case, be short, because the music is so chaotic and it's so brutal and it's so heavy that I like it in small doses. And this is just, I think it's perfect. A 20-minute war metal demo, I think it's perfect. The ambient intro, War Command, Demonic, Weltering in Blood, Ritual, Impurity, Nocturnal Slayer, the self-titled track, I guess it's called Blasphemy, I guess, self-titled track, and then Blasphemous Attack. Start to finish, it's incredible war metal. This is pretty much the beginning of the genre, and it's my favorite from the genre, although I'm sure that won't stay the case or remain the case. But for now, I love this. I spin it real often. And yeah, Blasphemy, Blood Upon the Altar. You guys know this, but if you haven't, check this out because it's incredible. Okay, final record. I don't really spin this often, but I'm really glad that I have it because it's a very important record to my music listening history, and I didn't even realize it until I got the album. Ulver with their second album, Kvoldsinger, whatever. Ulver, as many of you know, in the 90s, second wave Norwegian band. They released their debut, Bertat, which completely revolutionized atmospheric black metal with its clean vocals and its folk elements. They released this. And then their third album, Natan's Madrigal, I believe that's how it's pronounced, is super stripped down second wave. This is the often not talked about second album in that initial trilogy of releases because it's not metal, it's purely a folk album. Norwegian folk music, dark folk, neo-folk, however you want to classify it. It's just strictly folk music, not folk metal, not black metal with folk elements, folk music. All the songs are pretty good. I can't pronounce a single one of them, but all the songs are pretty good. I also want to show off, first off I gotta show off what a gorgeous picture that is. And then comes the record. This is some $20 spin shit right here. Wait for it. Whoa. I don't know if that's picking up on the camera. Oh yeah, it does. I'll hold it to the light. You can see it's like a clear blue with like a black splatter. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Sounds great. No complaints with the pressing. I don't really listen to Ulver much anymore, but they're not bad by any means. Bertat was really important to me, like getting into black metal. So I'll always really enjoy this band. I just don't spin the albums much. This I wanted to show off. This booklet, right, with pictures of the band on the back. Come on. Look at this. Sheet music. How to play the songs. That's really, really cool. I don't think it's every single song, but man, is this just cool to include it. Seriously, it closed just about as I was going to show the page. Fucker. Just another example of the sheet music. Awesome. I love that they included this because it's just a really cool thing to have with an album like this. Anyways, as I was saying, this was a really important album for my music listening history, and I didn't even realize it until I got it, because this album is, come on, I always have trouble with that. This album is the first ever folk album I ever listened to. Why is that significant? Because after I listened to this album, months later is when I got into Bob Dylan. And Bob Dylan became one of my favorite artists of all time. That's when I got into Nick Drake, Nico, Neil Young, Comus, the solo George Harrison stuff, Third Year Band, Bob Desper. I mean, I can just keep going on and on. I know that's a little bit of a meme on you name a bunch of popular artists and say, oh, the list goes on. But really, honestly, I listened to a lot of different folk music, and this was the first ever folk album I ever listened to. So for that, it's pretty significant in my music history. music history, or music listening history, I should say. So yeah, if you're in the mood for folk music and you want something a little darker, something a little more neo-folk-ish, definitely check this out. I definitely think it's a good album. I think Ulver has released a lot of great material, but some metalheads just kind of stick to the Tat and Nitanj Madrigal. But I definitely think that if you give this a shot, you'll probably enjoy it. And that's it. 3 albums. Obviously, these collection update videos are going to be a little shorter, but I can pump them out as soon as I get more records. So, yeah. Stay tuned for the next one.